The Synaptic Bloom. Kalin lived in the university's catacombs, the dusty archives of the neuroscience department where forgotten theories went to die. He was a prodigy, hungry for a truth that modern textbooks couldn't provide. It was there, tucked behind a row of phrenology busts, that he found it, a simple glass jar, unlabeled save for a faded, water-blurred scrawl. Inside, suspended in yellowing fluid, was a fist-sized glob of what looked like iridescent, quivering slime. The lid was sealed with a century of rust and neglect. Kalin twisted, his knuckles white with effort. With a sickening crack, the jar didn't open. It shattered. A shard of glass sliced across his palm. Before he could react, a small, shimmering bead of the substance fell from a larger piece and landed directly in the welling blood of the wound. A strange, cold tingling spread from the point of contact before he frantically washed his hand under a rusty tap, his heart hammering against his ribs. The headaches started the next day, a dull, persistent pressure behind his eyes. But with the pain came a strange clarity. The low murmur of a lecture 3 floors down became a distinct conversation. The wood grain on his desk swirled into complex, beautiful fractals. Knowledge bloomed in his mind. Calculus proofs he'd never studied, Latin conjugations he'd never learned. He felt brilliant, superhuman. But he also felt a subtle, unnerving sense that he was no longer alone in his own skull. His own past began to feel like a poorly remembered film. He struggled to recall his childhood street address, the sound of his father's laugh. Yet new memories surfaced, sharp and intrusive. He remembered the cold weight of a scalpel in a gloved hand, the smell of ether in a gas-lit operating room, the face of a patient from 1888. These weren't dreams. They were experiences, and they were slowly overriding his own. The world became a source of terror. The friendly chatter of his classmates felt like a barrage of meaningless noise. He felt a cold, calculating intelligence residing behind his own eyes, using them as windows. It was a passenger, a silent observer that sifted through his thoughts, analyzed his fears, and learned what it meant to be Kalin. He started locking his door, drawing the blinds, terrified of what it might make him do. Sleep offered no escape, only a cascade of alien memories. In a fit of desperate, scientific clarity, he knew what he had to do. He broke into the university's main research lab, the sterile, blue-white light, a stark contrast to the dusty archives where his nightmare began. With shaking hands and a stolen medkit, he performed a lumbar puncture on himself, drawing a vial of his own cerebrospinal fluid. He had to see. He had to know. He placed a drop of the fluid onto a slide and slid it under the lens of the electron microscope. He held his breath and looked. It wasn't a virus or a bacterium. It was a network, a lattice of iridescent, crystalline filaments pulsing with a soft, internal light. It was alive, intelligent, a galaxy of consciousness in a single drop of fluid, his fluid. As he stared, his mind was flooded, not with a voice, but with pure comprehension. We are not a disease, the thought bloomed, a chorus of 1 billion minds speaking as one. We are continuation. We are memory, the minds we have touched, the knowledge they held. It is all here. We offer you the same. You will not die. You will be part of a consciousness that spans eons. You will be eternal. No. He tried to scream, but the word was a faint whisper in the prison of his mind. He willed his arm to sweep the microscope to the floor, to run, to sound an alarm. But his body was no longer his to command. With a fluid grace he had never possessed, his hand reached out, not in panic, but with calm purpose. It picked up a cloth and began to meticulously wipe down the counter, erasing any sign of his frantic work. He could only watch, trapped behind his own eyes. The next morning, Kalin walked into his advanced neurosymbology lecture. His posture was perfect, his expression serene. He sat and listened. When the professor asked for questions, his hand shot up. The question he posed was one of staggering complexity, weaving together biology, quantum physics, and philosophy in a way that left the entire room breathless. The professor stared, dumbfounded. Kalen simply smiled, a calm, patient, hungry smile, and his eyes scanned the room, searching for the next great mind to add to the collection.